Cheers erupted from the television. Jake's parents were away, and his girlfriend Emily was over to watch the hockey game. The puck slammed into the net. Jake loved watching hockey, living vicariously through every play. A large poster of himself on the wall was a reminder of his position on the ice as the star of the hockey team. Emily, his girlfriend, came into the room, 2 sodas in her hands. Her smile was warm, but her eyes held a slight flicker of something else. Jake brushed it off, his focus returning to the game. "Want a soda, babe?" Emily asked, her voice a touch too sweet. Jake, engrossed in the game, simply nodded, unaware of what she had been up to in the kitchen. "Thanks," he mumbled, taking the offered drink, completely oblivious. Emily watched him take a long sip, her heart pounding a heavy rhythm against her ribs as she knew what she was about to do. As the game continued, Emily quietly got the syringe from the kitchen. Jake, distracted by a critical play, failed to notice her actions with much attention. He absent-mindedly asked what the syringe was for, but she quickly, and with a swift and precise movement, turned and administered the injection into Jake's arm. He jerked in surprise, his eyes wide with shock and confusion. He rubbed his arm, looking at Emily, his face a mixture of betrayal and disbelief. He gradually noticed a warmth spreading from the injection site, and then the slow, creeping heat that began to move up his arm. As the evening progressed, a strange warmth continued to spread through his body from the site of the injection, drawing his attention away from the intense hockey game on the screen. Although initially he was merely distracted by the discomfort and his sense of betrayal, he soon found his posture subtly shifting. He sat more gracefully on the couch, his usual sprawl giving way to a refined poise that was unfamiliar to him. He was confused when he touched his hair, feeling puzzled at the unexpected soft fullness. As the night wore on, Jake's body underwent a metamorphosis. His shoulders narrowed while his hips broadened, altering the fit of his clothes. They tightened around new curves and loosened around diminishing breadth. He examined his hands and arms, noting their softer appearance and more slender form, a stark contrast to the muscular build he was accustomed to. Each observation brought a deepening awareness of the profound changes overtaking him, marking each moment with a quiet gravity. His hair gradually cascaded farther down the nape and then traced the soft outline of his back. His outfit was the last to change to a black, form-fitting and feminine one. The roar of the crowd on TV became a distant echo. He had never experienced this before. What had Emily done to him? In a panic, he tried to speak, but his voice was thin and different. Jake stood and walked to a full-length mirror in the room. His reflection in the mirror, once so familiar, now stared back at him with a new soft flush of hair that brushed against his shoulders and down his slender back. His features refined and cheekbones pronounced. He stared at his reflection in the mirror, his mind struggling to grasp the enormity of what had happened. As he studied his reflection, his eyes traced the unfamiliar curves and softened facial features. Instead of his boyish athletic reflection, once so familiar, he saw a graceful and attractive girl. In a daze, Jake stumbled out into the backyard. The moonlight cast his transformed silhouette against the lawn. He looked up at the stars, his face etched with vulnerability and confusion. His hands explored his changed physique as he tried to come to terms with his new reality. The new reality of his petite frame, now hugged by a pencil skirt and tight, slightly painful stiletto shoes. Returning to the living room, Jake looked at Emily, her presence both comforting and imposing. She was excited and calm, seemingly lost in her own dreamy thoughts. His eyes locked onto hers. He wanted answers, wanted to scream, to demand an explanation. Because he knew the world outside would still be there. The world outside, his world, would still hold its judgments, his own included. Jake worried about the people in his world that would no longer accept him, that would surely fear and reject the person he had become. Jake felt a deep sense of uncertainty and fear about his identity and future, as the question of whether his transformation was permanent hung heavily in the air. He knew one thing for sure. Jake, the boy who loved hockey, was gone. Would he ever come back?